Hello. As usual, don't look at the lawn, no path, dog pees on the grass. Just a quick tip for you as well with the interior of the Lanshan. I saw yet another video the other day of somebody running guy lines through this loop over the top, through this tie out point, and then off onto a big stick. Honestly, really, you do not need to do this. I'm going to say it again for these simple hacks. That one there, this is the one. This one right here is the most important one you're going to do, okay? If you pull out this inner, you do not need very much height here. Look at this. Look at this peg. Look at the length of that guy line and look at the angle. Okay? It doesn't need to be up here somewhere. I'm going to show you what happens if you pull that out too much or put too much height in it. If you look underneath there, look how much lift that has got on the inner look. From that little peg, well, it's not a little peg actually, it's about a 200 peg. Just look at it. Hardly any lift though, is there? But look at the lift in there. Now watch what happens to the interior. Right, watch this seam over here when I lift the tent. When I put more pressure, I'm going to pull that up. Watch what happens. You see that? It's actually coming in. You're actually defeating the object. You're pulling the inner, which if you think about the physics makes perfect sense, because this is angled. Yeah? When you pull the centre, it pulls the ends in. So it actually pulls the inner closer. So there's a fine balance there. You don't have to go using tent poles and sticks and whatnot. And I'll tell you another really important thing which some people overlook with this tent. That pole needs to be as straight as you can get it. Alright? See, there is a slight kink to that. It's actually kinking to the rear of the tent slightly. If you don't get that right, if that pole is sloping too much to the rear, what you'll get is a lot of sagging. I saw somebody do this online, and the rear part of the tent here was sagging that bad. It wasn't sagging actually, it was tight, but it was dished like this, and it was down to the floor, thinking, oh, you know, I'll keep the tent warmer, and a load of water puddled on the back of it and flooded inside the tent. You've got to get that pole straight to be able to get that back nice and taut. Look, see it? See how taut the back of the tent is? I'm not saying this is a perfect pitch by any means, but it's not far off it. Don't put too much tension in each corner before you've gone round all of them. Just do it gradually. I do a diagonal, so I'll go a little bit here, a little bit over on the opposite corner, and then here, and then to the opposite corner, and then pull the rear in as well. Just do it all gradually. Okay? Obviously as well, when you close the door, the inner tends to tension up a little bit more as well, so when your doors are open, don't be surprised if you've got a little bit of sag. Well, there's virtually no sag in there at all. And as I said, there's not many modifications to this tent. Yes, tied out from the top there twice just gives it a little bit more strength and stability. This is the other thing I've done as well. Here's another little tip for you. Yes, give yourself some long guy lines, okay, here. But if you're in a really restricted spot where the terrain is you know, a little bit unfavourable, you're in a bit of a tight spot, it's late, you've been riding, hiking all day, you're tired, because this tent will take out about 20 square metres. If you peg it all out, as some people would have you do, it's a big footprint for a small tent really when you put all the guys out. So what I've done, just tied a little loop in there so I can just take that off, make it shorter, look. So here's the main line, where if it was really windy and you've got the space, you know, you could guy this thing right out. You know, there's about 3 meters of guy line there, so I can really pull it really taut so it's nice and stable in the wind. But you know, if it's not, just to keep your headroom in there, put yourself a little loop on there and just pop it over your peg. Okay, no elaborate guy lines stretching all over the tent, no carbon poles, walking poles or anything else holding up these other guy lines to give the lift inside this Lanshan. It doesn't need it. Honestly, I've said it before, if you pitch this Lanshan properly, you don't need to do all these fangled things. It's as I've said, that's the only thing that I've done. That double guy line there from the apex of the Lanshan, which is obviously the hanging loop, and these here, honestly, these are the most important mods you're going to make to this Lanshan. Do not hook them back up under there to that. Okay, I've tried it several times and it actually does make the interior sag more if you do that, because you're pulling it out, lifting it, and it pushes the inner back, so it creates some sag. Okay, any questions? You know what to do. Ciao ciao. Happy camping.